We're jumping back into our deep dive discussion into poetry. Last month we discussed odes and meditation, which were used for focusing on or upholding a person, event, or object in some kind of high regard. Odes especially were kind of like songs of love or worship with a tradition going back to ancient Greece. Meditations, on the other hand, don't come from any one specific culture or language. They're used for practicing written train of thought about the subject that is the focus of the poetry. This month, we're exploring rhyming poetry. Now, before we can jump into the poetry itself, we need to understand what rhyming is. Case in point, the ending of balloon rhymes with moon or soon or the month of June. And when using rhyme in poetry, it's important to apply a rhyme scheme which is within the poem. But before we can talk about our rhyme scheme, we need to know the different kinds of rhymes that exist. So we're dealing with 6 different types of rhymes. First up, we have the perfect rhyme. A perfect rhyme, or an exact, full, or true rhyme, takes place when both words share the exact same sound and the same number of syllables, like moon and soon. The second type of rhyme is called slant rhyme. The words end with a similar but not identical sound and or number of syllables. These can also be called half, imperfect, or near rhymes, like with the words squirrel and girl.
Face the wrath of Squirrel Girl.
The third type of rhyme is called an I rhyme, which is where you have 2 words that look similar on the page but do not actually rhyme when they are spoken, like move and love, or hour and pour. The next kind of rhyme is a masculine rhyme. The rhyme itself happens in the final syllables of the words within 2 lines in the poem, such as in follow and below. Both words end in low in their final syllable. If there's a masculine rhyme, then there must be a feminine rhyme. The ladies get extra in the best way with this type of rhyme because both syllables in a pair of words of 2 given lines have the same sound and the same number of syllables, like crazy and lazy.
What?
Just to be clear, that's not a commentary on women, it's a commentary on rhyming, not anything else. You know what? Moving on. Our last type of rhyme is called end rhyme, where the rhyme specifically occurs at the end of a pair of given lines. End rhymes can be either masculine or feminine. The other types can actually come in at any other point in the lines of poetry, but this one must come at the end of the lines. Otherwise, it doesn't live up to its name. Now that we know what our rhymes are, let's take a look at our rhyme schemes. Triple rhyme, which would be AAA. Mono rhyme, where every line ends with the same sound and syllable. For the sake of today's prompt, we are only going to focus on alternating rhyme scheme. Here's an example taken from my book, The Lover, the Fighter, and the Philosopher. The monkey did it. While lying on my bed to see what I could dream, I thought I saw a monster staring back at me. It looked like a monkey wagging its index finger, with a look of anger on its face, as it ate a hostess singer. He made a mean, horrific sound. He grumbled and he squealed, and threw a banana at me that hadn't been fully peeled. It hit my face and the monkey jumped onto my back to fight. He punched and clawed and I think I got a gnarly monkey bite. I tried to throw him off of me, but his tail was rather agile. It wrapped around my wrist and threw me into a laundry pile. I cowered and I hid. I started going fetal. and then the monkey began to leave because I poked him with a sewing needle. So if you see a monkey hiding in your college dorm room, make sure you have a sewing needle for defense. It will save you from monkey doom. This fight was an adventure, and I can only sigh with relief because this poem, it helped me write. This month I'm actually going to give you the prompt before we go over the tips that I have for writing rhyming poetry. For your poem, I want you to write an alternating rhyme scheme, that's the ABAB, with at least 10 to 12 lines using end rhyme for each of your lines. Your subject should be about Christmas or whichever winter holiday your family celebrates. And be sure to remember the following tips when working on your prompt. Tip 1, use a common rhyme scheme. I've already given it to you, so that should be a cinch. Tip 2, don't be afraid to experiment with other poetry forms. If you want to use an ode style or haiku, go for it. Just make sure you keep track of the rhyming and the number of lines. Tip number 3, play with sound repetition such as alliteration, because that can actually help you add texture to the poetry that you are writing. And lastly, tip 4, keep a notebook handy with a dictionary of rhyming words so that you can use it to help you in case you get stuck thinking of a rhyme. Once you have your poetry prompt written, I would love to read it. So if you want to share it with me, I would be so grateful to be able to help you with that. You can hit me up on Instagram and X at gkj_publishing, or you can email me at gkjpublishing@gmail.com. I would love to offer you some feedback.